Alright, hello everyone, and today I wasn't really sure what I was gonna do. So this is just the day after the Hillock Gladiator, and I was considering two things. One would be just another game, just another crawl game, and the second one would be a kind of a new player tutorial thing. And at first I was gonna do the tutorial thing today or tomorrow, but honestly, I think I just want to play another game of Crawl. I'm not really sure how my commenting style, I guess, is. I think I need to develop a bit more before I go into something as strict as like a tutorial or some kind of beginner guide. Because honestly, you need to say a lot of correct things, 100% correct things, I guess, in order to not confuse people. And I'm not very good at that, so yeah, I'm gonna have to try again. So, I was thinking of doing a Spriggan Enchanter. I'm just gonna do a regular game. But I was watching the. I was looking at some morgs earlier, and someone went Vinestalker of Olivalon, or Ellie, or whatever her name is. So that kind of struck my fancy. I'm not really sure if that's a good idea, but you know, gotta have a go. So, let's think. I guess I'll go Vinestalker Enchanter. Now, earlier, okay, so what we're gonna want first is stealth, a bit of hexes, and a bit of spellcasting, I suppose. Haven't really considered it. Now, I don't consider myself to be great at the Enchanter. I'm mostly a kind of melee player, but you know, we'll have a go. So, when I played Greater Player and I had to go for Vinestalker, I really hated the class. The race, mostly because it was really frustrating to play. The lack of healing was just really tough. But you know, you can't always. Every race has its gimmick, I guess, except the ones that are really good. They just don't have a gimmick. And also, I apologize. In the last playthrough, I noticed that my mouse was visible on the screen for a lot of the game. So I apologize. Maybe you didn't notice. I hope you didn't. Let's pretend you didn't. So it never happened. If it is again on this screen, I'm gonna be pretty annoyed. But that might just mean that where I think it's gonna be invisible is the wrong area, I guess. Because I'm just chucking it to the right-hand side. Hopefully it gets fixed. Okay, so I haven't really discussed the power of an enchanter yet, so I'm going to do that now. An enchanter is a interesting start because, well, it's an interesting playstyle, I guess, because it relies heavily on just killing your enemy in one hit, and then if it doesn't work, running away. So that's what I've been doing so far. Unless it's like a worm, because then I can just kite it with stones. So right now in the early game, I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to try to play as a full enchanter. I'm just going to sit back and pretty much play as any character would in the dungeon, just early on. Do a bit of melee, do a bit of ranged if it requires. I'm going to put Dex in. No real reason. Int is good, but I'm not really sure right now. So the first thing that we've got is Nemlex or Fedass. So Fedass is the plant god. I'm not really interested in her abilities because I don't find her to be that great of a god. Nemlex is an interesting one, but I think he's going to be too much of a pain to manage. So I'm just going to leave them both. Again, I'm going to look for either McLeb or... Oh, this was a mistake. Oh, what's he wielding? He's wielding a Dagger of Venom. Okay, so I'm gonna look for Ellie or McLeb, and the reason why is because they're gonna give me healing, and healing is what I kind of want because it'll offset the weakness of Vinestalker, which is the lack of healing. I'm not really sure which one is better, but you know, I'll see which one comes first, basically. But maybe last game was McLeb, so I guess I'll pick Ellie this time. Maybe even Aquawara. Depends on who comes first. So your red is a good god. for me to pick, but you know, I kind of want to just see what the powers of a healing god will do for Vinestalker. I've won Vinestalker 2 times. Once in my first Greater Player run. This was for Glowing Shortsword. Ooh. No, I think I should use the dagger because it stabs better. Anyway, I used it once for my first run. It was a Vinestalker Warper. It was the first Vinestalker I'd actually played, and I went of Kiku, and it was really strong. I felt it was incredibly powerful. My second time around, however, was not so smooth. I died about 10 to 15 times before I could get it off the ground. And I guess I'm actually a little bit surprised that I haven't died yet. Vinestalker has kind of high damage variance. Okay, so Robin is not too tough. She's actually about as strong as a regular gob, to be honest. Yeah, so not a big deal. I hate this tile. I don't know. I really like a lot of tiles, like the dagger, for example. A lot of bits of the tiles, but this helmet in particular is just, it looks really weird. It looks out of place, mostly because it's too big. But you know, it's not a big deal. It's cool. I'll take the 1 AC over the aesthetics, I guess. Okay, so we're moving along nicely. This Venom Dagger was a nice find. This Null is doing a lot of damage, but if I can get a little bit of Venom on him, he'll basically fall over, and that's good. Potions of Resistance. Now, the one thing that just is kind of painful for this character is just the fact that they don't have any healing. Oh, excellent! I got a Wand of Hasting. That's going to give me a couple of potions of hasting effect before I run out and have to recharge it. So that's a very nice find in the early part. I'm actually going to identify it just to maximize the amount of charges I get. So I get 5. I'm going to be very liberal with hasting now. It's going to be my, like, basically secondary thing. Okay, so Ashen Zari is actually another interesting one. I'm not sure if I want to pick it right now. I'm very tempted to. Actually, you know, I'll pick it. I'll pick it. I don't think. Okay, so Ashen Zari is the god of curses, and basically what that means is the more I curse my stuff, the more he likes it, and he basically boosts everything. So he's a very strong god, basically. And I'm going to just his effects won't show up early, but they will definitely have a big impact on the middle and late game. So Potions of Heal Wounds I'm going to turn off because I don't want to keep crying every time I pick one up, and it's useless to me. Notice that I haven't actually used any of my enchanter stuff yet, and the reason why is because I haven't really felt the need to. I know I should be using it. I should, but right now it's okay. I don't need to yet. I haven't really faced anything that requires me to. Like this giant frog, maybe. I'll use Confusion. So I guess I should explain how the enchanter works. Of the 3 spells that I have, Corona is just lights you up. It's not very good. Well, it's okay. But the 2 main things that an enchanter will use is the Ensorcelled Hibernation, which is a Hexes and Ice spell. This one puts your target to sleep, and that's kind of good. It's because your stabbing will do a lot of damage if you get it off. The only problem is because it's an ice spell. Actually, I guess it's not because it's an ice spell, but it doesn't work against demons and undead. But Confuse does, and Confuse, while it gives less damage on the stabs because you're confused and not completely paralyzed. Oh, excellent! I have a 9 charged Wand of Hasting now. Confuse is used basically to fill in the gap where Ensorcelled sits. So Ensorcelled Hibernation I just used on this ogre that put him to sleep, and I can just stab and kill him in 1 hit. So like I said, Enchanter is a very strong, but a little bit unwieldy sometimes. Yeah, its playstyle is very strong, but it can be a little bit unwieldy. But you can do things like this and kill really strong enemies really early on, and that's always nice. Okay, so I'm just tapping my way through the dungeon. This is a fortress, I guess, of gnolls. Yeah, it is. So I'm gonna try to move. I'm just gonna try to not open that door. Let's stay away from that. Mostly because I don't think that the enchanter is not that great at handling a lot of high level enemies at once. Okay, so I stabbed Pickel and I got a hit off. I knew it was kind of risky to keep hitting him after I'd stabbed him, but I didn't want him to heal. Okay, so this shop has a smoking short sword, and it's +6 with freeze. I may have made a mistake in buying that. I shouldn't have bought it. And the reason why is I didn't want to tempt myself, but, you know, I did. So I may be using this. I'm not going to use the Amulet of Faith, however. The Amulet of Faith is going to be... Ashnazari piety doesn't really go down that much. Okay, so I've gotten a Wand of Teleportation, and this is another yellow wand. So I've basically gotten all of the potentially best wands to get so far, so I'm quite happy about that. Heal Wounds is the only other one, and I guess Invisibility, but unfortunately for me, Heal Wounds doesn't work. Hey, I killed Sigmund. Okay, good. I thought that was a wizard, but it was just Sigmund. Okay, so right now you can kind of tell that this character is really weak. Mostly because I have 36 HP. It's D5. I have 36 HP. This is really scary. What I'm doing now is I'm just stacking stacking a little bit of fighting. I'm going to train a little bit, and I'm going to see if that works for me. Hopefully I can get a little bit of defense before enemies start doing a lot of damage to me, and I can't run away. I would train fighting, but I would train dodging, but it's just not as effective as fighting, I think. Mostly because fighting also gives a little bit of weapon skill. Okay, so I'm just doing the standard lure retreat strategy, and I'm just stacking poison on these enemies and kind of walking away. I think there's no, unlike the Hillock, there's no reason to play aggressively with this character. I can just walk back and slowly take him out, pick him off one by one. And that's what I'm doing so far. So I'm just waiting for them to come close to me. I'm not trying to capitalize on the confusion stabs, because those ones are not very consistent. Once you stab them, if you miss, it's the same as just, they just go into full alert state and you can't stab them after that. You have to cast another spell. So I'm not really trying to look for those wandering stabs. I'm looking for stabs that I have made myself, so the enemy have been hexed by me. Okay, so I've been held in a net, but it's okay. The gnoll was standing in water there, so his damage is pretty greatly reduced. His accuracy is very low. I'm trying not to fight in water, but a D1 enemy can be taken out. So what's it? Is it Jackal? Yeah, the Jackal can be taken out pretty easily. So, especially with this Venom weapon, it's pretty good. So far, I've been served quite well with the Venom weapon. I think that Venom would probably be better than the short sword for two reasons. First of all, stabbing is intrinsically strong, stronger with daggers. Short swords don't get as much stabbing bonus. And second of all, the freezing is not going to be as good in a pinch against enemies that I can poison, but I can't like kill in one stab. So poison will help finish it off. So I knew I originally wasn't going to explore the entirety of this this little fort thing, but I might as well. I'm not looking too hard at turn count this time. I rarely do, honestly. I try to just pretend turn count isn't a thing, because if something lowers your win, if you do something that lowers your win rate just so that you can get a lower turn count, if you're not aiming specifically for a speed run, then I don't see the point. I would just yeah, I'd either full speed run or I wouldn't speed run at all. Having said that, I wouldn't want to have like 150k turns, because that just means that I'm doing something wrong with my playstyle. It's a bit too tedious. 150k is pretty far for a 3-rune game. 150k for a 15-rune game is kind of, I guess, average maybe a bit less than average, a bit higher than average, right? Anyway, I've been a bit distracted. Okay, so Ashanzari hasn't given me any piety yet, and that's okay. I'm just exploring right now. I haven't really faced any threats. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. Ash has given me 1 pip of piety, and I am just ensorcelled hibernationing enemies. So there's a unknown scroll. I'm gonna get the dagger up a bit more, and I'm just gonna keep going. So I've got 2 unknown scrolls. I'm gonna read them now. Blinking rig. Okay, so I've got a lot of panic buttons right now. I've got 9 charges of hasting. I've got a little bit of teleportation. Okay, so this undead has a 54% chance of confusing it correctly, and okay, well, I guess I just casted my whole mana pool at it, and it didn't confuse, so 50%. Okay, so that was a 50-50 situation there. I was gonna either confuse it and then kill it, or I was gonna teleport away. Oh wow, that was a really big hit for me. So this character is pretty squishy. Okay, I'm just spamming confuse now to get the hexes on them. Alright, again, I'm not caring too much about permafood. I think I talked about this last game. Oh, I completely forgot to start memorizing spells. So, Tsukima's Dance is a spell that I used to not care about too much. But ever since... Oh, 1 second. Alright, and I'm back. Sorry about that. I had a bit of a... something spooked me, and I had to run away. Much like in this game, where that green goblin is. Oh, sorry. It is pretty scary. Okay. I have no idea what I was talking about before, so I'm going to pretend that I just didn't say anything for the last 16 minutes. Wow, I've actually been playing for quite a while. Time flies, I guess, when you're having fun. I realized I watched back a little bit on my stuff again. I'm pretty nervous about my stuff, and you know, I wanted to look over and see if I didn't puke when listening to my own self play. I thought it was okay, but it has definitely stuff to improve, like the way I talk, I guess. So one of the things that is an issue, I guess, that I want to bring up is... Oh, that's a water moccasin zombie. Odd. One of the things I want to bring up is that I was a bit negative last game. I talked about how I disliked a lot of things, and I didn't... Okay, so Joseph, haste, get in. Nope, didn't work. Okay. Stab and kill. Good. So last game I talked a lot about how I didn't like shoals, and then immediately after that, I said I didn't like vaults, and then after that I kind of said I didn't like depths. Like, I didn't realize that I was being that negative. I was just kind of rambling, and it turns out that I'm a very negative person when I ramble. So I'm gonna try to keep away from that. I really like this game. I think it goes without saying. Maybe. I mean, I did play enough games to get Greater Player once or twice, so I stuck around. I like this game. I don't think when I say I don't like something, it just means that kind of... Oh, hang on. Let's so Hungry Ghosts are jerks. So when I say I don't like this game, it's not really. It's just kind of a joke. I do like this game a lot. I don't like certain parts about it, I guess, is most accurate. Okay, so I'm in a lot of trouble right now. I might die in that turn. Nope. Okay, that's good. So I'm gonna walk back and let my cool regen heal me up. I'm gonna try to confuse this guy. It's not working at all. I'm gonna use my Vinestalker regen and my spirit shield thing that they get. So basically when you melee an enemy, you also bite them, and biting them drains their mana and gives it to you. So that's what I tried to do there. Okay, so this wolf is also dead. Grom, hopefully I can kill him with just a stab. Good, I can. So yeah, Enchanter is a little bit risky in the early game. You just have to kind of know where to play. Okay, so that's gone. Beneficial Mutation, I think it's a good idea to quaff. It was not a good idea to quaff, I apologize. That was really silly of me. So, I got Antennae, which is completely pointless for this character. Okay, also I made a really dumb mistake there. I tried to tab in to a whole bunch of enemies. I completely forgot what character I was playing. So, yeah, Potions of Beneficial Mutation can give you things that drop your slots. So, for example, the antennae on my head makes my helmet come off, which is really frustrating. So right now there are a lot of bees. Bees are poison minus, but currently I'm taking a lot of damage from poison as well. Hopefully my high regen will be able to counteract it before I die. I'm just trying to kind of take on enemies one versus one. I'm not trying to, fight them in a big pack. I don't have invisibility like last game. I found it kind of funny that I used invis quite as many times as I did. Okay, so I'm in a lot of trouble right now. I've managed to tab myself to almost death. So I'm just gonna teleport out and hopefully come again to fight another day. Alright, so I forgot to talk about my spell choices. Tsukima's Dance is a spell that used to be really kind of garbage, I guess. Not really. It used to just be a big AoE hex that actually I'm not sure what it did. Oh no, it took out your weapon that you were wielding and turned it into an ally, and that was, I kind of guess, a bit lackluster. But they recently changed it, so they reduced its spell level probably. It used to be pretty crap, and now it works on enemies instead of you. So what that means is, when you're fighting an enemy like this one, I can use Tsukima's Dance, rip his mace out of his weapon, effectively reducing his DPS, and this mace can now go fight the enemies. So it's a very good spell. It does a lot for you. So even a floating dagger and a floating axe is enough to kill an enemy half the time. Look, I have a floating trident now. There you go, done. And so I at first I was wondering, why would anyone want this spell? And then I realized it has its very good niche. It hits at a time, so you can get it up at a time where a lot of humanoid enemies with very strong. The main power about them is the fact that they have such a strong weapon. And yeah, so Tsukima's Dance just removes that. So layers on this floor. I'm considering going into it. I think I will, but this is pretty risky. So let's just try to play a little bit careful. And I'm not sure if this is because of the mutation. I don't think it is, but Ashenzare's second Pip of Piety thing has started to kick in, and I'm seeing my surroundings, which is kind of cool. So whenever I think of Lair, I think of Hydras, and my concept with this character to tackling Hydras would be put it to sleep or confuse it and then stab the crap out of it. It might not work because of RNG. Enchant is a very RNG based thing. You kind of have to keep spamming spells until one of them works. So, or I might use Dazzling Spray instead, which is a new-ish spell added to the Conjurer's book, and more recently they used it to replace invisibility in this book. Oh, Harold, stab. Confuse and stab. Yeah, so one of the cool things about Enchanter is that they just have a lot of stabbing. They have a lot of abilities to kill people in really quick time. Most fights last about 5 turns. For example, these spine toads are pretty dangerous. I just walked straight into them and killed them. So, I guess now is a good time to talk about my hexes and my training. Spellcasting is left on, and the reason why it's left on is because I'm a Vinestalker, and it's a bit of a stretch, I guess, but ooh, let's cast Dazzling Spray and hopefully get one. Nope, not gonna get one. Okay, I might die here. I'm actually gonna use a Blink Scroll. No, I'm gonna use the Fear Scrolls. Sorry, what was I talking about? Yeah, I was talking about my spell list. Sorry, my training. So I've got Fighting up to 5, I've got Spellcasting up to 8, Hexes up to 8, and Stealth up to 14. I'm gonna keep Stealth on until it maxes out pretty much. I don't want to ever not have it on. I think Hexes can stay on for now. They're not real. There's no real reason to turn it off. But eventually, soon actually, I will have to turn it off, I guess, because I want to get my dagger up to speed, and I also want to get my dodging. So right now, this guy is shitting on me pretty hard. No, he's screwing with me. So I'm just gonna run. Just gonna keep running. Okay, so that fight just kind of proves that I need to turn hexes off, and I need some short blades. Not a lot, but just some will do. Just enough so that I can hold my own on against these kind of enemies. Without hexes. Pure hexes don't always work, so you want to always have contingencies. Okay, so there's a lot of guys here, but I'm going to stab a lot of them, so the fight immediately gets reduced in lethality. I'm just going to be careful with this Blink Frog. I need to make sure it doesn't do that to me. I'm going to use Fear, and I'm going to haste myself. Hopefully he doesn't... Okay, good. So, yeah, this character is a lot weaker than my last one, the Hillock Gladiator. And the reason why is because, frankly, he's not a full melee, full heavy armor character. And he didn't have as great a start. I had some good stuff. Okay, so I just identified a potion of invisibility. That's a good one to have. Yeah, I may have mentioned this just then, but I found it kind of funny that I used the potion of invisibility so much in just invisibility in general, so much on my heavily armored fighter last time. It was kind of a weird thing. I don't usually use it that much, but it worked out a lot. So I don't know, might as well. So I have an extra recharging now, and I'm just going to recharge my teleport scroll. My teleport one, sorry. And there's no real thought process behind it. I just kind of want a couple more teleports in the bank. So Spiny Toads, I'm very happy so far that none of them have posed a real threat to me. I've just been able to stab them and kill them. So this layer 1, the layer 1 was very easy. The layer 2 is posing to be quite a bit more difficult, but still very manageable. Most of the time that I've been almost dead, they were my fault. So, and using my resources, I managed to get out pretty safely. Alright, just keep killing, just keep killing. I'm just gonna look for an artifact, just to make sure I didn't skip over any. You don't have to do that, but I just decided to. There's no harm in looking. It takes me about 2 seconds to do it. Okay, so layer 2 is completed. Let's move on. Alright, so Fanar is going to be a bit of a pain. I'm not sure if I'm going to die to him. I'm going to move towards him and stab him, and I'm going to kill him, which is pretty good. Alright, so his robe of cold resistance is going to overtake my my regular robe, my vanilla robe. And I'm going to now drop one of my 2 remaining curse scrolls and get some curse armors, and I'm gonna curse this on. I think it's good enough that I don't have to worry too hard about getting a better one. The only one I can think of that's better is maybe a resistance. Ooh, I made a bit of a mistake there. I thought that my character was a Spriggan. So the reason why Spriggans make better enchanters, I guess, than Vinestalkers is because of their high dodge. Their dodge is just insane. Alright, so I'm going to leave spellcasting on for just a touch more, and then once it gets my other spells to Hungless, I guess I'll turn it off. The only reason why I'm keeping it on is because it's effectively giving me more health. More mana is more health. Actually, that makes me think maybe this artifact weapon that I'm not wielding, could be used to boost my health. I'm very tempted now, but I'm going to advise against it because, you know, I want the stabs. I'm here for the stabs. as you can see, some of the enemies that I've fought so far, like Harold and I don't remember anyone else, they're all useless. A +5 ring of Dex, excellent. Okay, I'm actually going to curse on. Let's see, how much does this do? Gives me 1 extra evade. I'm going to curse on the protection from magic, just to speed up my pie again a little bit. It's not really that crazy, but you know, no biggie. I'm going to need a lot more stuff to get cursed on, just so that I can get some boost to my magic because of Ashensari. So I'm going to have to wait a little while. I'm surprised that I didn't get. I'm surprised that so far my armor cursing hasn't given me any dodge, but that's fine as well, I suppose. So short plates is up to 6 and spellcasting is up to 9. I knew I said I would take it off when it's hungerless, but I don't need it yet. I'm gonna put some into dodging, and I'm gonna actually turn stealth down and increase fighting, so I get a bit more health. Stealth will not ever be turned off, basically, but I will want other things. Okay, so I got myself into a kill hole, and this is kind of scary now. So I'm going to confuse it, and I'm just going to hope that I don't die. Okay, so my next thing came up, and I think I'm going to actually train Int. I trained Dex the last couple of times, and I'm noticing that my dodge hasn't really gone up too much. Okay, so this is a huge, pretty huge pack. So I'm going to start throwing my Wand of Fireball. That didn't work. It didn't have the effect I wanted, so I'm going to just pull back, and I'm going to step back in to kite to get some stabs in when I have the chance. Vinestalker regen will help me just kind of tank 1 or 2 hits as I walk in. But as you can see, I'm kind of slowly dismantling this pack. And you notice there that my mana regen just went from my mana went from full to 0, from 0 to full in about 1 hit. That's one of the greatest things about Vinestalker. You're never really out of mana. You're just 1 melee hit away from just being okay again. And again, instead of putting myself in a kill hole, I'm kind of just engaging the pack a little bit at a time. I'm just pulling back and just fighting them. I'm not sure which one's better. Alright, so on to layer 4. I'm not really sure which one is the more appropriate one. In layer, kill holes tend to be very good. Alright, so I'm going to pump my last recharging. I'm going to pump my last haste, and I'm going to recharge it. And this is not working out too great for me. I'm hasted, so I'm doing a lot of damage. But they're also strong enough to kill me. I might have to just fear again. Okay, he didn't die. So I'm thinking of what I need to do, and I think I just need to fear again. It's a big waste, but I made a big mistake, so you know, it should be proportionate. And the mistake that I made was letting them come in too much. Like they came in melee 2 at a time, and this character isn't tanky enough to take on 2 wolves at the same time. So I'm gonna do this stupid thing and try to tank a Komodo dragon. I don't think it can kill me in 1 hit, but it can certainly kill me in 2. So I shouldn't have done that, but you know, it worked out. It worked out. Alright, picking up a book of air. This is good. I'm just gonna put the repel missiles on. There are some spells that just you always want if you are casting magic, and repel missiles is just one of them. It just makes you. There's no downside at all. You just cast it from time to time, and it saves you a lot of trouble fighting enemies. Alright, so this part is going on for a really long time. It's 32 minutes now, and you know, it's not that long, but you gotta understand that my internet is not that great, so you know, us Australians, we don't have very fast internet. So yeah, I might have to cut this a bit short. Like I'm not sure if I should finish the floor even. I guess I'll finish it. It's probably for the best. Yeah, and Actually, this is pretty crazy. The first episode that I did for the last guy, I think he finished Lair by now. So this is kind of, you can kind of see the difference between heavy melee and someone who's an enchanter. You have to make a couple more decisions. Alright, so this was the same vault as last time, again. But I'm gonna, this time, just auto-exclude the heck out of it and not go anywhere near it. I don't want to, this character doesn't have enough health to tank a couple of lightning bolts. Okay, so that is layer 4 done. I'm gonna stop this part now. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next part.